Alright, so I've got my shed end all screwed off, and I made a slight modification to the original plan. Instead of using 9 and 10 blocks, I just cut a little 2x4 there, and from the top to the edge of that 2x4 is basically the distance from right here to right here is 7 3/4, and I'm calling this my part number 9 now. Instead of doing 2 blocks and another angle, it doesn't need that much strength. I mean, even if it wasn't a greenhouse and it was a shed, it wouldn't need that kind of strength. So I just put a little piece of 5.5, which is a 2x6 piece right here, and basically just made sure that that fit to line it up. I'll show you that right here. This is 5.5 inches long, so it's going to have a 2x6 that's going to run down the whole length of the truss. So you're basically flush right here. Now, if you look at these doors, or the door, what I've done is all the corners, these aren't screwed right into the board. I actually screwed them in at an angle. So I started a drill bit, angled it, drilled in, and then I put screws in. So I pre-drilled at every corner piece to make sure there's 2 screws at each and every corner going in. The other thing I did that I can't show you on the video because I can't hold it while I do it, I stood this up with some help, flipped it over, and I cut right here all the way down. I set my circular saw to 3/4 of an inch, which is the width of my plywood, and I cut the back side of it. Same over here. So these are now 3 separate pieces, and the reason I did that is so that one person could lift them up to install them, and they'll just kind of sit right in place. So if you notice this guy here, he's just kind of sitting there. Yeah, it sounds like one person can really lift up. It's not that heavy, it's just that everything's so tight. By laying it out and building it and then cutting those back sides really kind of made a difference. One thing I did that would be helpful for you to know is don't use screws that go longer than the 3/4, because I screwed in my other board. I had to pry them apart, and while I was cutting this with my circular saw, I had to kind of hop over, and that's why that last edge is rugged, because some places the screws were coming through, and I had to basically kind of hop over it, and the plywood would kind of break, and I couldn't cut all the way through it. But it still looks pretty decent. I cleaned it up with the saw after I cut through it once and kind of snapped it off. And then make note of the screws, so that if this is 2 feet to here, so I actually cut them at 25 inches. So from the edge of the plywood all the way to here is 25, and the edge of the plywood from there to here is 25. And so in theory, you could just build these all in 3 pieces if you laid out your plywood, but I still wanted the seams to run this direction versus doing it the other way. I'm sure you could line the plywood up the other way too, and that would work just as well. So anyways, here's my shed end. I'm just marking this with pencil, and I'll lift the board. I'll actually just take the couple screws out holding it in place to zip these angle pieces off. And then the only part that's left that's not cut out is from the door to here. And I'll wait till I actually get it installed, and once it's installed, because the door is now screwed off, you could actually take it off the frame. But I won't do that. I'll just set my skill saw depth again, and I'll end up just slicing. You know, I'll come down from here an inch, and I'll slice from end to end, and then my door will just kind of fall out of that pocket. So that'll give you basically 4 pieces, and I may do that actually now anyways, because I don't know that I want to carry this truss around and that board. It'd be nice to just have the truss and then have the 2 side pieces in the door, so when I go to assemble it. But I don't know, we'll see. This is nice this way too, because you can stand this end up, put your runner in, stand the other end up and screw the runners in at the angles, and then cut the door out after the whole thing's standing. And that's actually probably the better thing to do here. So anyways, there's the end of the truss, and I'll get my other one built now that I kind of really got it figured out, the less painless method. And there you have it.